Hi. Been a while, huh? Sorry, just been chilling in this little hot tub pool here. Just chilling. Did you even know this was here? It's on Ilios. Yeah. Hey guys, it's your boy CeeLo, not Green, and today I wanted to talk less about news regarding Overwatch and more about the franchise as a whole. Look, I'm gonna be honest, there's no need for me to cover news on Overwatch anymore when other content creators have advanced knowledge of the game as a whole, while someone like me would have to scramble to make a video as fast as possible for the news in a video to still be relevant. Frankly, it burned me out, and that's why I haven't made a video in, wow. That's a while. And wow, what's this? A video covering Overwatch as a franchise that isn't going to immediately bash it and completely trash anything they've ever done? Man, this ain't gonna do numbers. The algorithm ain't gonna like positive Overwatch content. Anyway, the whole point of this video is talking about the reputation Overwatch has in the general gaming world and why it has it and how it could all turn around. I was watching the most recent Group Up podcast with SVB, Frito, Flats, and SK, and one of the points they brought up in the podcast was Overwatch's reputation and is it savable? And honestly, conversations about things like this have always been way more interesting than watching the 100th cheater VOD or a patch note video. Talking about the game is something that has always been more up my alley. You know, I really just wanted to make a video screaming into the void about how I think Overwatch's reputation is genuinely savable, and guess what? It's not as complex of an answer as you think it is. So, what is Overwatch's reputation right now? It's trash! I mean, there's a million reasons why people think this, and frankly, the game itself hasn't really helped its own case. I think the real turning point was the fabled and now infamous BlizzCon 2019, where Jeff Kaplan went up on stage and announced to the world Overwatch 2. PvE, skill trees, transformative ability changes in said PvE hero missions. I think it's an understatement that that announcement in retrospect was actually the day Overwatch died in the general population's eyes. They went up on the biggest stage possible, announced to the world these sweeping and insane changes, and then, what, 3 years of no content, and then 5v5, free-to-play, battle pass, and a completely underbaked PvE mode that was nothing like how it was shown 4 years prior. To the people on the outside, the PvE was the saving grace to this game, and when it wasn't even close to being anything of note, it was genuinely the final straw for most people. Now, don't get me wrong, the PvE was fun for the first playthrough. I literally have not touched it since, and when you do go back to play it, you literally cannot find enough players to play it, so you will get bots 100% of the time you play at this point. And at that point, is there one? And now that we learned that Microsoft basically axed the entire PvE team, it's extremely unlikely we'll ever get anything else on the PvE side of things. I mean, I could go on and on about the failures of PvE and why it would never work, but that's not really the point I'm trying to make in this video, but I will come back to PvE and what I think is the best part of it. I don't know why, just kidding, I do, but there is just this horrible stigma around Overwatch. I mean, you have tweets getting thousands of likes, shitting all over it. Opera GX Twitter, adding it among the worst games of 2023. Even though it came out in 2022, but that's just me being pedantic at this point. Everyone just says, oh, Overwatch, the dead game with all the, adult content. Like, it's hilarious how people have genuinely Mandela affected themselves into thinking Overwatch heroes always had the, fattest assets in the world, but nothing about the models changed from Overwatch 1 to 2. They just kind of outed themselves as tier 3 gooners in the process of trying to shit on the game. I mean, what more is there to say about how the gaming community thinks of the game? If you're on any social media, you get people who haven't ever played or haven't played since like 2017 chipping in with their opinions that make no sense most of the time. And that 2017 date is really interesting because I feel like around then, a lot of the general discourse around the game changed. If you were around in 2016 and even before, when the game was new, it was genuinely one of the biggest things ever at the time. You couldn't escape, it's high noon, or heroes never die, or diva bombs, or gremlin diva. Like, it was just part of the internet discourse at the time, and you could not escape it. It was just so popular, it's unbelievable looking back at it now, how much the opinions have changed. I mean, Jeff Kaplan, the game director, a developer, basically became a celebrity, and here's a hot take for you. The reason for that wasn't because of Jeff alone, but I genuinely think that Dino Flask's old Jeff Kaplan videos pushed him up to another level of popularity. I mean, don't get me wrong, Jeff was a very charismatic guy on camera, and people look back at him as the god of Overwatch. But for the most part, he delivered his dev blogs pretty cut and dry, and then people look forward to the new ones because Dino Flask would make him say something like this.
Well, who That's right. Overwatch is finally coming to the Nintendo. Dude, Switch. I think Microsoft PowerPoint fans are going to be really blown away with how low the frame rate drops when there's more than one ultimate on the screen at the same time.
I mean, those videos are genuinely hilarious, but under Jeff Kaplan, news alert, the game fucking died. The metas that made people leave were under Jeff's leadership. The 3-year content drought was under Jeff's leadership. Now, I know that Bobby Kotick surely had some meddling in the game, and that has been all but proven from former devs saying these things, but I mean, Jeff was one of the people who created Overwatch when it was new, and he was the funny guy, so people just excuse the things he and his team did that they now shit on the game for today. Like, at some point, we need to stop looking back at Jeff as the savior of Overwatch. I mean, as well, people now just fucking hate Blizzard. The difference in opinion about the company from 2016 to now is like an entirely different company. Overwatch was this new IP from the gods at Blizzard, but when the Wizard of Oz's curtain was pulled back, we saw Bill Cosby was back there instead. Blizzard and its former horrible developers and their actions absolutely deserve every bit of hate they got and still get today. But it's just funny to me that despite Team 4 and all of their devs getting, from what I can tell, 0 accusations against them, even being cited as basically a safe haven from the rest of Blizzard, they still get hit with the same vitriol. I really never see anyone shitting on Diablo or World of Warcraft the same way they shit on Overwatch. Overwatch even decided to actively stand with the victims of the horrible atrocities by changing the name of the Cowboy Man from the name of one of the actually accused developers who did all of these horrible things people hate to Cole Cassidy, and at the time, the Overwatch team still got completely dumpstered about the name change. So like, they do the right thing and still get flack for it, and not for the right reasons, just because people hate Overwatch. It just, as of right now, seems like a losing battle. Since then, the dev team has tried its hardest to get back into public favor, and in my opinion, they've done a decent job. The Season 9 changes with the health increases and the bigger bullets and projectiles will make the game feel better. Like, I'm a known Hanzo trash can who can't hit anything even when I'm shooting down a narrow choke or hallway, and now maybe being able to hit those will make me think, hey, maybe I'm not so trash. It'll be like the reverse of Alari's gun on launch. Those bullets were pretty much the size they will be for everyone now moving forward, and I mean, I felt like I was a god at aiming, when really the game was just gaslighting me into thinking I could become a Widow one trick. But the point is now that with the Season 9 changes, I think there is a genuine chance that people who don't like Overwatch could maybe like it if they tried it again. I mean, you'll still be shooting shields, but at least you'll be hitting shots on the enemy more, which makes people who feel like they can't hit anything in the game before actually able to do that now. Shooting things in a shooter game feels good. Imagine that. But really, the entire point of this video is coming up right here. I swear, like right now. Here's the thesis. Where is the hype? Where is it? This season should be the one they gas up the most, and all we get is a normal season teaser trailer with gameplay and a blog post or two you need to find via Aaron Keller's Twitter. Like, why? Who's gonna find that if you're not playing Overwatch already? The Jeff Kaplan videos they watched, and more importantly, the cinematics people watched. The cinematics are what is holding Overwatch back, and more specifically, the lack thereof. Where are they? There should have been some amazing new cinematic for this season, where the game is receiving one of the biggest balance patches ever in the game, and even I, as someone who's completely engaged in keeping up with news constantly, am barely seeing any info about it. If you want this game to have a good perception, they need to make more cinematics, or hey, even better, a TV show. I'm dead serious that Overwatch is easily the most underutilized gaming franchise maybe of all time. You could ask anyone who this is, or who this is, or who this is, and they would be able to tell you exactly who they are. These Overwatch heroes are some of the most recognizable gaming characters currently. People always say, oh, I like the heroes, I just hate the game. I mean, guess what other game people say that about? League of Legends. And guess what they have that we don't? A TV show that was incredibly well received and is getting a new season this year. Going back to Overwatch, guess what the most watched video on the main Overwatch YouTube channel is? Take a second. Yeah, you guessed it right, it's the Genji and Hanzo cinematic. And guess what? Nothing has happened with that since. Almost 8 years later, yes, 8 years, almost a full decade has gone by, and nothing about Hanzo or Genji has been expanded. We got Cupid Hanzo in a dating sim before we ever got an update on the two Shimada brothers. Hell, I think you could ask someone who doesn't play the game these two characters' full names, and they'd tell you them correctly. That's how much of an impact something like this has. When you tell good narrative stories about your game, people will engage with it more and will have a better overall opinion about it. Like, God bless the authors and artists, but no one besides hardcore Overwatch lore fans fans care about your short stories, novels, and comics. I will never, ever read a Valorant short story or a League of Legends comic, but if there's a well-animated series or a cinematic about those games I don't play, I'd watch it, and then probably have a better opinion about the games overall. Like, I never touched League, and then I saw KDA and Arcane, and suddenly I love watching people play League of Legends. I mean, I'll never play it myself because it's too hard, not my thing, but I went from never engaging with the franchise to having a decent opinion about it and enjoying it to an extent. Now do that with Overwatch and all of its iconic and loved characters, and I think you have a genuine hit on your hands. Even back when the Hanzo and Genji cinematic came out, people were begging for a movie or a show. Even when Overwatch was at its peak popularity, when it was brand new, it was never capitalized on. Overwatch has this goldmine of 8 years of lore they have at their disposal, and instead of investing it into something that would be incredibly popular, successful, and possibly franchise turning, they never did anything about it. Now, I am like 1,000,000% sure that every developer that has ever clocked in a single day at Team 4 has wanted either a movie or a show about their game. I know they could do it, and it would be incredibly popular. It's just that Blizzard refused to do it for whatever reason. My only guess is that they were a little hesitant to do anything like that after the flop that was the Warcraft movie, but now I'm hoping to God that with Microsoft now officially in charge and some layoffs out of the way, there's a chance they could see this completely underutilized cash cow they have and do something with it. Going back to the PvE, the best part of it was the cutscenes. Something about seeing Winston and Reinhardt and Cassidy and Mercy and everyone just talking to each other made me feel something that I never had about the game. I mean, yes, the voice lines at the start of every game and during it is one thing, but seeing them look at each other and emote and act and just have actual fucking scenes was something magical that we haven't seen since 2019 when the Overwatch 2 trailer in Paris happened. The last cinematic we got wasn't great, it was just mostly Sojourn sitting and talking in her house with some random guy, and as a cinematic it wasn't great because we're used to these incredible ones like the Kiriko or Ryan or Bastion one, where it's just amazing and you get emotional watching these heroes you know and love get to do something. The Sojourn one would work well as a scene in an episode of a show where plot is needed to be explained, but I mean, it's been 6 months since the Sojourn cinematic, and then we got the Le Seraphim collab stuff, which also rocked, but it also wasn't like a full cinematic, but still just seeing Tracer, Brig, Diva, and Kiriko hanging out was amazing. Even if it's not canon, it's like they know these heroes are what make the game what it is, but they never do anything with it. I can guarantee right now that if today an Overwatch 8-episode TV show for Netflix or Amazon Prime or whatever came out, the opinion of Overwatch would change almost immediately overnight. It's like they completely underestimate how good these characters are and how they genuinely carry the franchise, gameplay be damned. It's just so frustrating to see how much missed potential there is in this game. I remember when I was done the PvE missions, the first thing I thought was, man, I don't ever want to play this again, and man do I wish all of this was just a TV show instead. I have a feeling that a ton of people felt the same way. People love these characters. They want to see more of them. And like, think of all the cool ways you could incorporate the new heroes too. Like Illari, why have we never heard of any of these Peruvian super sun-powered warriors before? Was there one in Overwatch before Illari? What if Illari gets recruited to Talon by Doomfist and Reaper because they understand and weaponize her pain? That could be a whole season of a show. The Null Sector stuff is really interesting. Well, Ramatra is really interesting because, like, how many times are we going to have Overwatch plot be robots evil, shoot robot, heroes win? Like, it just isn't interesting. I don't want to play shoot robot. I want to see more about Ramatra and Talon and the new reformed Overwatch. I'm not interested in the specific battles. I want the overarching story. And I think the general public would love all of that too. I think what I'm saying in a really long and ranty way, yes, I was furiously typing all of this as I wrote the script, by the way, is that the way to get people to like Overwatch and make it a successful franchise again is to do more story content that isn't gameplay. Let the world that has been built up for almost 10 years do the talking, and then let people come play the free-to-play game. Hell, even use it as a skin selling opportunity. Want that cool Talon outfit that Illari wore in episode 7? Here it is. Buy it. Remember how cool that scene was? Buy it. All of it is right there for the taking, and yet it seems time and time again, they, meaning Blizzard, just never reached out and took it. I genuinely think Overwatch could make its gigantic comeback if something like this happened. Like, mix a show or a cinematic in with the new balance changes, and I think you'd be surprised with how much more popular this whole game and franchise would be after. But that's just my honest and completely unbiased opinion. How long have I been in here? Is it safe to be in a hot tub for 4 hours?